But okay, do you think they're going to grandfather it a whole lot, or are we going to have to catch up right off the bat? I mean,
I think they proposed some grandfathered times. They did in the original NPRM. I think we had a grace period for when our drones had to be fitted with it. As far as whether that would be taken away or possibly loosened, that I'm not sure about. I'm hoping so.
Yeah, me too.
It would really be pretty crazy if all of a sudden, hey, starting 2021, you've got to have remote ID. When
yeah, really, and they're going to announce it in December, January 1, 2021. You must have remote ID or your drone, or you will not fly.
Yeah, and who?
I mean, is that how it will be?
Yeah,
or is it going to cost so much to fly? It's going to be ridiculous. Real quick before we get this started, John and I are just talking about the new remote ID thing. We're going to be talking about it a little bit more. We're also going to be talking about the Mavic Mini 2. And we're also going to be talking, hopefully by the time Ron gets here and catches up with us, we're going to be talking about vintage drones, like your favorite old drones and stuff, and, what you still like to fly, even though it's old. And somebody says, well, you're still flying that damn thing, and, because I just love it, So we'll be talking about stuff like that, maybe showing off a few of those. I've got one blast from the past that I've got broke down, but I'm not going to drag it out and show it. But anyway, I'm babbling right now, so let me get back over here and get things situated. Which one am I wanting? I want that one. No, I don't want that one. I want to come down here, and I'm going to click this. Howdy, everybody. And as you can see, it's myself and John. We're still waiting on Ron because he told us he was running a little bit late. Ethan was unusual. He's AWOL. We don't know if anybody can find Ethan. Tell us where he is.
He said he's going to be a few minutes late.
Oh, Ethan did?
Just popped in. Yep, in the private chat.
Okay, I see that now. Okay, I can see that now. Okay, so anyway, Ethan's on his way. Ron's on his way. John and I are here. So welcome to Drone Therapy Season 4, Episode 39. Whip out your vintage. So as I was talking beforehand. And the splash screen, let me see, who was it that was telling me? Oh, Sam. Sam, I kind of do that so you kind of get a kind of behind the scenes look of what we're jabbering about before we go live. I don't want you to think that. So like tonight's title was talking about vintage, but we had decided before we went live that we were also going to discuss remote ID because, as we all know, that kind of dropped in everybody's lap today because the final decision is coming, and our 50,000 comments didn't mean jack. What do you think, John?
Yeah, they decided to move the whole remote ID into the final phase, which I believe they moved it into the final rule stage as of the 13th, just yesterday. So, we went from it just being proposed rule to final rule, and they're going to have this all, quote unquote, decided by the end of December, supposedly, which is, shocking given how obviously controversial all
Dave. Good to see you, Dave. Dave's from down under. Everybody say, hey, Dave down under.
Hey, Dave down under.
Yeah, Dave does a lot of really cool budget. Him and Marcus need to hook up. Talk about the two budget drone dudes.
Oh, David does more actually RC cars now these days, actually, because the budget drones have been going down the crapper lately.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're not even. It's not worthwhile because if you get a toy nowadays, it's going to fly about 3 flights and hit the ground.
You know what? Speaking of that, okay, so the same drone that he has, the JJRC, the X16, I got it, and mine just spins in a circle. It just yaws in a circle, and his just kind of just likes to fly away on its own. So I mean that's the state of the budget drones these days. It's just not even worth it.
Okay, here's the thing. it doesn't matter. Big money needs to make money from drone deliveries. And if people see the damn things flying everywhere, people are going to get. How many of you really want to have? Hey, Rick, good to see you too. Johnny, good to see you. Mana. I don't have the routine down, so I'll just leave it at that. If Paul was here, he could do the full thing for you. Art, good to see you. Jody, good to see you. Phil, good to see you. Glad to have you in the house. And according to what they're saying is Roger sent everybody over, so we're glad to have you. Oh, Dave's half a friggin' sleep.
That's fantastic.
We're glad to have you in the house. Thank you very much for showing up. But the remote ID thing, really and truthfully, I think that big business has outpriced themselves. Because I really and truthfully, unless there's two horrible sides to this, is if they're really going to try to push us into drone delivery, then that drone's going to have to be able to pick up merchandise from a warehouse somewhere near to you that drone's capable of flying to and from. So your choices are going to be limited to the size of that warehouse and to the variety of goods it holds. And
your locale to the warehouse and everything else. And yeah, it's not an easy deal. No.
It does. It's like, so unless they're going to like set up all these little warehouses with like toilet paper and, stuff like that, then that's the only thing I can see making sense. Like, oh no, God, I'm on the crapper and I need some toilet paper.
Yeah, I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. The whole thing's just so laughable to me, but it's really sad because it's just overcomplicating a hobby. This is supposed to be freaking fun, right? This is supposed to be freaking fun, and they're just ruining it by making it so hard.
Okay, first off, Sam's asking you a question, and then Dan's got a really good point here, and yes, that's what we've heard too.
All right, so Sam, to answer Sam's question, remote ID is actually worse for FPV with the current proposed rules. All we have is the proposed rules, okay? So I'm going based on what was proposed. The proposed rules are really scary because the FAA wants the builds to be certified, to go through some sort of approval process that all the parts per se are all approved, okay? So for your drone to be remote ID approved, it would have to kind of go through the FAA, and that's really detrimental to people who self-build, people who are in FPV. That's a really big problem. The other thing is, if you do have a drone that's not all approved, then you're kind of stuck in one of those AMA fields, those 400, limited flying fields. So it's a disaster for people who want to build, an absolute disaster.
What about wireless charging stations on the way? The one thing is thanks to Elon Musk, we may be able to have constant internet connection by the time this goes active. At least
it should apply to the stores that sell the parts and not the builder. But the way the NPRM is worded, they did not protect the self-builder. That's the problem. That's the way I see it. I believe that's the way the FPV Freedom Coalition sees it, as a potential big problem with the way it's worded.
All FPV would meet special requirements. Like, ooh, I don't know about that one.
I mean, it's a good way of thinking about it. It's a good way in basic of thinking about it. Yeah.
And Ethan's joined us. It may just be me, but Ethan, it looks like you've dropped a couple of pounds since the last time we saw you.
Maybe.
It does look like he's lost weight. What is he eating there?
You've trimmed up.
Could be just the lens.
Could be that HDR, huh?
Yeah, right.
I love it. Just the lid.
It could be the HDR. Well, we're crapping on about remote ID, so you're just in time.
All right.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, that we haven't got to the vintage part yet.
We haven't got that.
Slammed us with we're going to find out the final rendering in December, and it's going to go active in January. Everybody's like, uh-oh.
Here's what I think. If they actually just take the NPRM as is and decide we're just going to implement this, It's going to open the floodgates for the lawsuits. Here they come. Boom. You're going to see all the major drone industry players file big, fat lawsuit.
Okay, but do you believe this one, all FPV would have to meet special requirements?
I mean, that's kind of how if we go just based on the NPRM that we all voiced our opinions loudly against back in January, yeah, they would kind of have to meet the FAA's approval. I mean, I'm right. I think I'm right on that, Ethan. Mm-hmm. It's been a while since I've refreshed myself on all the information, but like I said,
Marcus is being formal.
Yeah, right.
Mr. Mitchell.
Yep.
Oh yeah, but John's like, that's just Ethan, man.
I personally think they're going to push it through as is. Unfortunately,
yeah. I mean,
it's going to be a nightmare as far as logistics goes for how they want to do it, how they want to enforce it. I guarantee you, there's going to be a bunch of overnight companies pop up that are what they call the suppliers, the
fly-by-night UAS, the remote UAS. Yeah.
So you're going to see anything maybe like $3 a month all the way to $50 a month, and then they'll even probably say if you're doing a commercial flight, it's more. Who knows? But I think you can see TBS is actually setting themselves up to be able to handle remote ID because some of their new stuff has got Wi-Fi in it, so they could tether your phone and kind of do it if they wanted to.
Yep, they've said that. They've said that they could actually do it both ways. They could put some sort of digital tag in your RF signal. They could do it, like you said, with the Wi-Fi. I mean, they are kind of ready to deal with that on some level. Personally, if they're going to do something like this, I would be willing to tolerate an RF-based digital license plate. No internet, no third-party UAS logging everywhere we go and what we do. That's absolutely ridiculous. Just something that has a digital license plate that, if law enforcement needs to take a gun and, get that signal, get that information out of our RF stream, then sure, fine, whatever. But every Joe Schmo, Tom, Dick, and Harry shouldn't be able to get our information from that license plate. Just the same way when you're on the road and you see someone's license plate, you can't know all the information about them. Why should it be any different with drones?
I agree, 100%.
Okay, what do you think about what SoCal's asking?
I mean, so DJI has made up their own stuff. Everything that you see on a DJI drone, that is their own. That is DJI's own made-up airspace, their own geofencing that they took it upon themselves to do, which was, very noble of them. And as much as I complain about it, it does work. And for the, especially for the new drone flyer that doesn't know all the ins and outs, it does keep you safe. So, but that is nothing that FAA told them to do. It's nothing that FAA approved. So they have FAA has no ties to them whatsoever.
Absolutely.
But as far as the regulations, they're the same for both devices. There's not like a camera drone gets a different specification as to an FPV drone. They both have to write, 249 and under, have to carry, That's all the same. So
yeah, as far as that's concerned, yeah.
I thought 250 under 250 doesn't have to comply with remote ID. I thought that you didn't have to have remote ID if you were under 250. That I think was the one difference.
That is still debatable because they did leave it in the wording and said that weight may not be the ultimate thing that says you need it or not.
Oh, okay.
Like 249 may not be the minimum.
They can change it with the flick of a pen. I mean, looks like you change it with a flick of a pen, and we know that. But my understanding was that they were going to try to make it so under 250 grams did not have to deal with remote ID. But, even that sucks. I was saying earlier today that I don't want to live in a, world where all my drones have to be under 250 grams. It's ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I love my under 250 gram flyers. I love my whoops. I love the 3-inch quads, but I love that 5-inch. Okay. Ethan gets it. I love the 5-inch drones. I love the big 7-inch drones. You're never going to get that under 250 grams. It's just going to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Oh, he's muted. He's muted. Ethan, you're muted.
Wait. Let me see if I can do it.
How about now?
Yeah, you're good now.
Yeah. I've been flying a lot of 6-inch drones just because I've come to the conclusion in order for me to get better, because I can fly okay, but I definitely want to get better. And I've come to the conclusion that in order to do that, I need to fly one size and just stick with that and just keep on going. And I've noticed I tend to build things a little on the heavier side, and I like to fly cameras that are a little heavier.
Sam Burns, good one, Sam Burns. You know, as I said it, I realized what I said. Oh God! All right, well, go ahead, take that clip, and upload it to your YouTube.
Right.
Man. Go ahead.
That'll be the meme, the FPV meme right there.
Just cut it out.
No, it's a new T-shirt.
Yeah, go ahead.
At least 5 inches.
I need at least 5 inches to be happy. Right, exactly.
It's got to be a "that's what she said" in there somewhere.
No, you know what? I feel you.
I don't know, man. A
entirely,
lot of men
Ethan,
would like
man.
that shirt then.
You gotta stick with the same quad and the same, just that same thing. Build that muscle memory, right?
Right. Yeah, I noticed recently when I was bouncing back and forth between a 7-inch, a 6-inch, 5-inch, and a 3-inch. I was just getting to the point where I felt like my flying skills were actually declining a little bit, just because I think I was jumping around too much.
Yeah, you don't want to jump around to too many different inches. That.
I don't even think we need to be happy. I think we just need to leave it at, I need at least 5 inches.
No offense to anyone out there who has, less than 5 inches. I'm just saying, but I prefer 5-inch.
Glad to have you in the house. Howdy. Everybody say hey to Herman.
Hey, Herman.
Good
hey,
to
Herman.
see you. That was funny, I swear. See, we can create comedy on the fly.
Yeah.
We haven't done it that uniquely in a while, though. I have to admit, that was almost as good as knit night.
Yeah.
Just all you got to do is bring up prop size, FPV prop sizes, and then there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
That'd be the next level.
Yeah, how fast do you like to spin your prop?
Yeah.
Vintage drones. Vintage drones?
No. We're gonna do the Mini 2 first.
Oh, Mini 2. Okay.
Yeah, but the thing about it is how much input have we gotten directly on what you guys in the chat think of this new remote ID? And here's something that I didn't get to interject because the guys were going back and forth. I think, and I hate to say this, we're going to get the ability to broadcast our signal, but we're going to have to pay for a chunk of airspace to fly in each time we fly as a hobby pilot, is what I'm afraid of.
It definitely could be.
Because I think that the big buck people are going to demand their airspace so much that they're going to say, okay, they're allowed to have from 100 to 150 feet in this, 200 square foot area, and that's it.
The big what people?
The bigger Amazon, pizza, whatever, and as far as they're going to dictate as to what segment of the sky we get, and with so many of us wanting to fly, that airspace is going to be at a premium.
That's going to be scary and terrible if that happens. Let's just act like that's not going to happen for now.
All I got to say to that is try to catch me. Try to catch me.
Okay. As it is, it's going to be really hard to enforce remote ID.
I will definitely be selling all my DJI stuff and buying an Altel. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, Sam Burns is right. Who the hell will want to fly drones with all restrictions?
That's what they want. That's what they want. They want
us
to stop flying.
Made this the other day.
Ooh. Hero439. Very shiny. Very shiny. Very shiny.
Finally got the color change working in my slicer. So.
Yes, and how long before it becomes a naked Hero439?
No.
I want to go back here and then if we can get off the remote ID, if you want. Sam Burns was asking, why can't you just add a transponder to your FPV for the ID? And I mean, yeah, you could, but then there's still that problem of the build needing to be FAA approved.
I love this.
You might have to submit your build to get approved, and it's just a nightmare.
Evidence.
Also, the transponder is like one thing, but the other thing that everybody's like leaving out is that in the proposed rules, it says that the drone itself needs to be connected to the internet.
That's right. I was going to mention that too.
So it's got to have a cellular. It's got to have a cellular device transponder on it.
Yeah, I mean, Ethan, I'm thinking that, maybe, the drone itself has to be online. That's the thing. The drone itself.
What about Elon's thing?
Well, the receivers for those are really big so far.
Okay.
You're talking about the Skylink or something, whatever.
Yeah, so that's not going to help us anytime soon.
Nope.
Speaking of that, a Native American tribe in a remote area of the country just got it as a beta version, and they said that's connected them with the rest of the world, and they love it now.
Oh, so, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, cool, I just read that last night, so I thought that was really cool.
That is pretty cool.
The only thing, you know what's going to happen, man? All our brains are going to start glowing about 30 years after it's in effect.
Well, sorry to sidetrack the stream about drone, but it's interesting because if anybody's traveled abroad into some of these third world countries, they have very different rules about that kind of stuff, and their governments don't allow their people to see what's going on in the rest of the world via the internet. So I'm wondering what's going to happen when all their people have to do is get a dish and they're plugged in,
Yeah.
It'd be very interesting to see how this changes everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. More when people get information, they have more power to them.
Absolutely. Okay. Jim was saying about unmanned traffic management will tighten the noose.
I think it'll all be automated personally.
We have to be. There'll be no other way to deal with it.
I think you're still going to have air traffic controllers doing the manned aircraft, but as far as the drone flights go, but and it's going to be, so if we want to fly in controlled airspace right now, you got to do the LANs and get pre-approval and all that stuff. It's going to be like that for every flight you do.
Yeah. Well, of course. Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of like, whatever. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
What's that? Exactly. You're not gonna to participate.
We'll see what the final thing comes down to. If and in the Mavic 3, obviously you'll probably have it. Obviously, that's what everybody says they're waiting for, and it does make a lot of sense. But I'll probably buy a compliant drone just for the commercial stuff. But as far as like everything else goes, I just want to. If I'm on vacation, I want to get a quick shot. No, nope.
Understood.
I'm sorry, it's like you take all these tests and you pay all these fees. I mean, I'm a responsible pilot, so I can look in the sky and make sure nothing's coming.
Yeah, it's understandable. Okay, everybody basically is saying the same thing. Bullshit. So, with that being said, let's go speak a little bit upon the Mavic Mini 2, which apparently is going to be coming out. I think Lauren was talking about the first part of November.
Cool.
And we are supposedly, and Ash was saying this when he was on with Phantom Flight 101 and Novice Quads earlier on Phantom Flight's Wednesday show. Hi, Crystal.
I'm being invaded. They said hi. No, you can't help. Ron is on his way.
I know about drones. I can help. You need 4 people to screen tonight.
Ron is on his way. Ron is on his way.
Come on, we got room.
I bet I'm cuter than he is.
Yes.
Did you check him out?
He doesn't know how to use a pole either.
What?
No.
Did you see him? He stopped and jerked and looked back at the screen. Oh, God. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Mavic Mini. Okay. 2 things. First off, Ash was saying that apparently the Pocket 2 is going to have the Mavic Air's 2's sensor.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Do what?
I'll be curious to see if they put 10-bit color in it though.
I kind of doubt that too.
Because they already had 4K 60, right, with the first one.
Yep.
So what would be the next logical thing? You think it would do 5K?
I don't think it's going to do 5K. I think it'll still do 4K. But maybe we'll get some other interesting.
What do you think the next logical thing would be? Do you think it'd be 4K 120? I don't think it's going to do that.
I don't know, but they're going to want to sell it. And they've already lowered the price of the other one to like dirt anyway. It's like, what, $200 now? Oh, John, your face is all red.
Huh? No, it's not.
Why's your shirt unbuttoned?
It's not.
You're sweating. You're sweating.
Good God.
Crystal, he said he only needs 5 inches to make him happy.
Oh my God. I need a place to just hide when I do the live streams.
No, okay. Okay, y'all remember from now on, anytime y'all come in, you got to greet John with, it only takes 5 inches to make me happy. Just type it in there. It only takes. Anytime you see him in a live stream anywhere. No, don't do that. He'll get mad at me. Don't do that.
It should be a T-shirt though. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, it'll happen now because you asked. Everyone will do it.
No, somebody else can. Y'all can out. Everybody else can make one, and then you can sell it, and then donate the proceeds to John Cuppi, FPV, and Remote ID.
No, not Remote ID.
No, John. Okay, John Cuppi, anti-Remote ID.
But back to the new Osmo Pocket. So Lauren was talking about 4K 60, but
right.
They already had that in the first one, though.
Yeah, right. Didn't they?
Yeah.
Okay, so what? Okay, Lauren, what do you think is going to be better about this one, other than it's going to have the Air 2 sensor and? Well, okay, if they're going to do that, then they're going to give us some of those shots, right, in a handheld position. So we're going to get smart photo,
the HDR, yeah. But me personally, for me to be interested in the Pocket, you got to give me more than that. So anybody that's done any kind of coloring or whatnot and worked with 10-bit before, 10-bit just is so much better looking than anything else.
Yeah, it is.
And even if they,
Good thing he left the room, man.
Right. The Mavic Mini. Oh yeah, the Mavic Mini. I think if they gave us 4K 20, 4K 30, I think everybody would be happy.
Oh, he's saying, yeah, but he's saying now that he thinks the Mavic Mini 2, or he's saying the Mavic Mini 2 is going to have 4K 60. Well, so are they going to give us 1080 at 120?
If they put the 60 frames per second in the Mini, I think that would actually step on the sales of the Mavic Air 2.
Yeah, I do
to especially to people that's the first drone for you.
Yeah,
I think it would, because that's one of the better selling points of the Mavic 2 Air 2.
Yeah. What do you think, John?
I have no idea what you guys are talking about because people can't stop interrupting me.
Oh God.
Something about this Mavic Mini 2, I think, right?
Do you think it's going to have 4K 60?
Yes. And then I speculated, if it has 4K 60, will it have 1080 at 120?
Oh man, that's a tough one. It's tough because they got to be careful not to, cannibalize the Mavic Air 2. They really have to be careful with that.
And that's what Ethan was saying.
And I'm feeling like no. I'm feeling like it would make more sense to make it match the Mavic Pro 1 specs.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be 4K 30, but the same everything. I mean, I literally think it's going to be the exact same Mavic Mini, just with 4K 60
or 4K 30.
I mean, sorry, 4K 30. Yeah, that's what I think.
We'll get like maybe 4K 24, 25, and 30.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah,
I think they might throw in an extra like quick feature like Active Track or something. I doubt it, but they might. But as far as camera quality goes, I think it's going to be almost identical to the first one, but just with 4K.
Mike, good to see you, man. Sam,
I don't think the Mini will get zoom.
No.
Sam Burns was asking if it would get zoom. No, that's an example of a feature that even if they could add it, I think they would keep it away from it because they don't want to do it.
I only have initial specs. Oh, it said it is capable of 4K 60. I don't think it's going to be the Mavic Mini 2. Maybe it is. That picture's supposedly it. I think it's kind of asinine. I think they'll just call it the Mavic Mini Pro. That way they can, because supposedly it's going to be a little bit more expensive, just like I was telling you all. What did I say? $525, $529 for the Fly More, and then like $460 or something. $454, $449. $449.
That is like right on the edge. I think if they pushed any further than that, people would just jump up to the Mavic Air.
Yeah, exactly. But I think they'll get people to buy at that. But like OcuSync's not going to happen.
No, I don't think. I think they need something. They need different hardware that's heavier or something.
We're gonna drink. Be right
Yeah.
back.
Or pulls more. Obviously, it's got to pull more power to send out a stronger signal.
And it's also got to ventilate. It's got to have somewhere to vent that, and it's
So,
such a crammed body.
I bet you they could, but I don't think it'd be under 250.
What do you mean?
That's the problem.
So it's going to charge by USB-C, not that little.
Well, that's what the first one does. Oh, the USB. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they should up that USB-C. Yeah.
Like Sam Burns was saying, the original is capable of 4K.
Yeah, it is. It's got a 4K sensor on it, but they don't.
But I was going to say it's only 2.7K, right?
Right. Same thing with the Spark. The Spark had a 4K sensor on it too, but they only
it took 4K pictures. Remember?
Yeah.
Now is the reason they did that because there's not enough CPU to process that? Is that why they left it at 2.7K?
They could, but you can always turn down the bit rate if that's an issue, so you can still keep the resolution higher. Yeah,
that makes sense. See, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the kind of stuff that they do, because again, they got to be careful not to take away from that Mavic Air 2. I mean, that Mavic Air 2 is a hell of a deal.
Oh yeah. I am actually surprised. It's, once I got one and started using it, I was actually very surprised it's priced where it's at, because like I said before, if you put it on a scale in between the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mavic Mini, it's way closer to the Pro than it is the Mini.
Lauren was saying, we'll not get the active track as there is no OA. Okay.
I didn't think it used the obstacle avoidance for active track, though. I thought it just used the camera. But could be wrong. Because
I thought you just use the camera, too, for active track.
The Spark, because the Spark only had obstacle avoidance, IR obstacle avoidance in the front, and it still did active track. Not very good.
Lauren was saying that the processor was struggling and it overheated running it at 4K.
Which one?
So even the
Spark.
And the Spark.
Okay.
We were talking about the Mavic Mini.
Oh no, I understood that, but so the Mavic Mini it overheated, or the Spark is what he's talking about. Which
I don't know. I thought we were on about the Mavic Mini, because I think I had said that what was the reason why, if the Mavic Mini sensor is 4K, then why didn't they let people record in 4K? Is it that the processor just can't handle it? And I think Lauren was responding to me about that.
So
and actually,
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, and actually, for people that don't know, the Mavic 2 Pro could actually do a lot more with that sensor, but the processor, the image processor, is also processing the images from the other 6 cameras on the drone. Like if you've ever done a obstacle avoidance calibration check with your computer, you can visually see the black and white video that comes from those cameras, and it's constantly processing those all the time in the background, even if it's on or not. That's a lot of power that's got to use just for that feature. So me personally, and I turn it off almost all the time. So I really wish that they would. There's a way to disable it in the background to get different features, but that'll be on the Mavic 3.
Oh, did I miss?
Very
Chris?
nice.
Oh, Chris was in here earlier. Okay, so, but like we were saying, something else I had a question when Ash was talking about this earlier, when he was in with them, talking about the Pocket 2. I asked him if the accessories that actually come from DJI, like the scroll wheel, that type of stuff, would be backwards compatible. And of course, no. But I'm thinking how much of a pain in the ass it is to set up those individual lines. And we all know that none of those accessories probably sold worth a damn for the Pocket. And so I'm thinking probably that they would just sell what they got and update the processor in the unit itself.
Yeah,
you would think these companies that are making stuff like, the first Osmo Pocket, and let's talk about the GoPro 8, these accessories for these things, you would think that they would have that stuff ironed out and all of them available the first day you hit the market. You would think.
They never do.
No, and they're still, like I know in the GoPro, you still can't get some of this stuff for it.
You know how long it took just to get the microphone jack for the Osmo Action? Oh my God!
Oh yeah,
the external microphone adapter.
I'm not an engineer, but why can't that be easy?
I don't know. Why does it have to require a $20 part to buy?
Yeah, and if it's going to be that much of a problem, just put the little microphone jack in the damn thing.
Exactly. It's just so silly. It blows my mind because they're all like that. As far as I'm aware, they're all like that. They all need some sort of.
I mean, does that jack cost a lot of money or something to put on the board?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't get it either. But it's been the bane of action cameras for the longest time.
The bane of action cameras. I love that wording.
Yep. Actually, I've got an action camera coming next week that actually has that jack on it, the regular microphone jack, and it's actually got a HDMI port on it too.
Oh, wow.
Well, I've got the GoPro Hero4.
There you go.
pretty epic camera.
Yep. I still got one of those back home. Yeah.
I have the Force One cheap ass Bubba camera that shoots 1080p, but it does have like a digital zoom on it.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it has HDR.
Tell them it needs HDR.
HLG. It shoots HLG and H.265.
There you go.
Joko says he's looking for a Mavic 2 Pro or a Zoom for his next drone when finances allow it. You know, man, I feel like the Mavic Air 2 is just perfect for what I need it for.
Oh well, if you're thinking about getting a Zoom, no, don't get the Zoom. If you're thinking about like a Mavic Air 2 or Zoom or Mavic.
He has a Mavic
Pro,
Air 2.
Yeah, he's got that. Yeah, he's got the Mavic Air 2.
The camera on that's better than the Zoom.
And if I was you, Dan, I'd just stick that money in a savings account and wait for the 3.
Yeah, exactly.
The camera on the Mavic Air 2 is better than the Zoom. I can tell you that.
And it's got zoom, and it's got some zoom functionality on it too. So I mean, you might as well get the Mavic 2 Pro.
Yeah, it's got a better sensor on it. It's got like that 1/2-inch sensor that is better. The sensor that's on the Zoom is pretty small. I mean, it was like the standard go-to what all the sub $1,000 drones had for a long time. Like the same sensor that's on, I think, the Mavic Air, the first Mavic Air.
Yeah, really good point.
I'm going through. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Zoom, the actual physical zoom capability of the Zoom, I mean, it's a cool feature. But when you have better sensors with the higher quality image, you can digitally zoom in and post and get the same quality. Like I did a video comparing the Zoom to the Mavic 2 Pro. And in HQ mode, the Mavic 2 Pro, you can actually zoom in further and get a better image just because it's got such a larger sensor.
Cool. Let's see. What's anybody? Funny you mentioned that. I have the Mavic Air 2, the Mavic 2. Huh?
And he's dropping a video.
New video from Idaho Quadcopter.
Oh, okay. So you've got the Mavic 2 Zoom and the Mavic Air 2, and you're going to do a video comparison tomorrow.
Yep.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, something with the...
Ooh, yeah. Phones are going off.
Is it that time? No, it's early. It's probably
it's early. Yeah.
Yeah, we're starting to get them just a little bit, but where the numbers are fluctuating, it doesn't look like anytime soon we're going back to being normal. So, yeah, we got you. We figured out what you're talking about, which should be a cool video. So please get over to Idaho Quadcopter tomorrow and check out his comparison video. Anything else upon the one thing Johnny was asking about the battery life. We've heard that it was just a tad bit longer, and we're bringing in a gentleman that may be able to give us a tiny bit more information. He tends to be our guy on the move, our man out in the field, who was coming in late tonight because he was spending time with his lady love, and they had to have some time before he came in here. So, without further ado, Ron Brown.
Hey, Ron.
Sorry,
there he is.
Bill's story's pretty accurate, except my lady love wasn't my wife. It was my drones up on the Ocean City, New Jersey boardwalk tonight, and I got caught up, hanging out and eat dinner and so on. But so sorry I'm late, but I'm here now. I've heard we got a retro drone show going on tonight.
Yes,
we haven't quite got to that point yet.
Okay.
What we were discussing to begin with was the remote ID slap in the face in December that we found out about today. And we were also discussing to a little bit of detail the Mavic Mini 2 as well as the Osmo Pocket 2.
Okay.
What we were speculating and thinking of each. Johnny Droneflower was asking, what about the battery life? And we were saying that we thought that the battery life was just going to be a smidge longer. So 35 minutes as opposed to 32? I don't know.
Yeah, we know that the battery, I think, has more amps in it, but of course, some of that power may go to the more robust processor to help the drone be able to achieve 4K footage. So we may not get a whole lot of leftover battery life for extended flight time. But the Mini did really good on flight time already, so it didn't need a really big push in that area. The 4K and a little bit stronger motors for wind resistance were the things that really needed.
Absolutely.
Now I did hear some news. Again, everything I'm telling you is rumors, stuff I read on the internet. So take this all for a great, great assault here. The original speculation for the release date was almost like the end of November, right before Black Friday. But just as of yesterday, I heard that it may get moved up to the earlier part of November, almost to coincide with the release date of the first Mavic Mini last year, which arrived almost first 10 days of the month or less in November. So that may happen again. And also, I think it's going to be a little more price boost than we thought. We were looking at maybe a 3-4% price increase, but now it looks a little bit more like maybe a 10%, or something like that, or you go 5 to 10 somewhere in there rather than the 3 to 5, which we had hoped. So I hope I'm wrong on that information. So it said.
Well, it's like they were saying 600 earlier. If it's 600, people are going to buy the Air.
Yes.
I was speculating 525 to 529 for the Fly More combo, and let's say 449 for the actual drone itself.
I could see 449, but no more than that for the base model, because then you're cutting it too close to the Air too. Yeah. You're really starting to cut it too close to the Air too.
And I really truthfully, I don't see people, maybe 549. I think 529 would get more people into the Fly More combo package.
And once you get it above that $499 price point, it no longer becomes a holiday gift for most people. Then it's got to stay under that price to be like a holiday gift somebody gets their loved ones for Christmas.
Exactly. I mean, that's like right in line with some of the console pricing. That's right in line with lots of holiday gifts. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Maybe a new cell phone, a new budget laptop, a new tablet. Yeah,
exactly. Right. Hell, actually, the Mavic Mini 2 would be cheaper than like the new iPhone 12. So
Yeah. Well,
all right. Well, we've got 20 some plus in here. What do you guys think the price is going to be? And is over 500 going to be a killer for you? Or are you going to say, no, I'm not going to buy the Mavic Mini 2 if it's over $500? What do you think? Let me know.
We talking base price then?
Now, let's say Fly More combo. Is it going to be $499 or is it going to be over? And if it's over, are you going to buy or not? So, in the meantime, what do you think the features are going to be? We were saying that we were figuring 4K at 24, 25, and 30, and a little longer flight time, and that was going to be pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Ron?
I don't think we'll see OcuSync. 4K is almost a dead. Why even do it if it's not getting 4K? I'm hoping for DNG file images. If they're going to put a stronger image processor in there, they might as well make it strong enough to put some DNG/RAW files out.
That would help a lot. That would actually be another good selling point to have RAW files.
Yes, it would.
Yeah, for people that are more into photography than they are.
Okay. What about 265? What about okay, we're going to have 8-bit because we're not going to put 10-bit on it for sure.
Right.
So what about, could we have a 265 with an HLG file or a D-Log file?
Well, I think if this is squarely aimed at the below the prosumer, whatever you call below the prosumer. So I think D-Log is a little bit maybe too much. But I'm talking against myself because I want D and G files, but I'm talking against a log file, whatever. So I don't know.
What do you think, John? What do you think is going to be on it?
I really think that all that crap you guys are talking about, that's all way beyond the focus group for the Mavic Mini. They're really looking for people who are just going to throw it up in the air and record it. They don't care about the log. They don't care about any of that stuff. I don't think you're going to see that. You're going to only see those features on their higher end drones. And even if it's possible for them to add that stuff, I just don't see them putting it in there.
Okay, so what you're saying is that all this is just being done to make Frank Swang happy.
I think it's going to be what the first one should have been, personally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, wasn't Frank supposedly upset the camera quality of the Mini, and that's why he had to
Upset that it did not have 4K.
Yeah. Well, he was just unhappy with the camera quality. That's why I said it's just to make Frank Swang happy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the first one should have had that. If you're not going to have any of the other features, like you can't change the saturation, you can't change the contrast, you can't change the sharpness, any of that stuff that was on the Spark, that was on the Mavic Air. You know what I mean? You're going to come out with this other drone that technically is the next thing after the Spark. Yeah, you can make it under $250,000, but you're not going to give us 4K. I mean, almost every single cell phone these days had 4K when that thing came out.
Ouch! Look at this.
Ooh.
Not including tariff. They'll never find this out.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be.
I won't have one. I won't have one.
Not include. What's the tariff?
Yeah, Jesus. I mean, think about it, man.
I'm not aware of what the tariff is.
If that's before the tariff price?
Because I'm not sure what the tariff difference was.
Well, I mean, remember, John, like say for some higher end drones like the Mavic 2 Pro, the tariff put another $250, $300 to the price of that drone.
Right, right.
But here's
exactly.
at least another $30 or $40. So that's going to become a $600 drone for a Fly More combo. It will not sell.
Yeah, I mean, that depends. Again, it depends on what the tariff is. Because if the tariff is, let's say the tariff is only like 5 or 10% more or whatever, 5 or 10%, then maybe it's not that bad.
I still think if it even puts it at anywhere close to $600, which it's definitely close there, I really think people are going to jump. I actually would recommend people jumping up to the Mavic Air 2.
Right.
Yeah.
That extra $200 gets you a lot of drone over the Mini.
The tariff is a solid 25% on all drone stuff. Because I thought it was up to. I thought the whole tariff thing was everything was up to 25%.
Well, that's so crazy. But you know what that's going to, if that's true, you know what, I'll tell you what I personally am going to do. I'm still going to sell my Mavic Mini, and then I'm not going to buy a drone.
Yep.
I'm not going to buy a drone because I don't use the Mini enough. So, okay, go ahead.
And what's that going to put the original Mini at? Is going to make it even lower. So people are probably going to gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
Say, hey, I'm okay with not having 4K.
Right. Because again, a lot of the
exactly
whatever you call consumers, people below the prosumer level with 4K. If they really don't have the money or interest to get a higher end drone, they're probably got older computers that can't do 4K anyways. So what's it mean if I got a 5-year-old laptop or more that can't do 4K? What do I care if the drone has 4K?
Right.
Don't forget too, by the way, that a lot of people that go for the Mavic Mini or who might be getting it may not have, and this was a stopper even with the Mavic, the original one, the Mavic Mini 1. Their phone.
Yeah.
Their phone.
Prime Day is over. Prime days are done. That good deal is done.
Do you have to have a special phone to run the Fly app?
What?
You need to have a phone that's powerful enough to run the Fly app.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Some of the lower end Android phones just can't do it. They literally just can't do it.
Right.
But yeah, so and the thing about it is if they're going to offer the Mavic Mini 2 for the Fly More combo at $600, okay, I put my Mavic Mini on Facebook Marketplace, and everybody just wants to offer me $300 all day long. So if they come out with the Mavic Mini 2 at $600, then the Mavic Mini Fly More combo going to be had all day long at about $300 to $325, and nobody's going to buy the 2. Well, except your bigger channels that need it for views.
So a 25% tariff on 570 is $142. So that's going to put it at 700 something.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Now, let's answer. We're talking about this tariff here, but does the Mavic Air 2 have a quote tariff built into that price? If
it would have to.
It would have a tariff built in that price. Why will this have a tariff built in that price if the Air 2 doesn't?
No, it has to have it built in there.
It does. It's built in. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I didn't pay over. I paid like $7.99 for mine.
Right. So I'm just saying, it's not like, say, where they're going to come up with what Lauren's like $429, and then they're going to tack on a tariff. It's going to be some oddball price of like $487.50. They're going to make it a nice round price. Like it's either going to be $399, $449, $499. It's not going to be like $476.25. With the tariff, it's going to look like a real price.
Yeah, I think they really shot themselves in the foot by pricing the Mavic Air 2 at $800. It's definitely $1,000 drone. Easily.
Well,
yeah.
They did. And look at the big picture. They would be much happier to sell that Mavic Air 2 for $799 all day long than to sell the Mini for $399. You know what I mean? Like they're getting they're getting double the money there. So like so if you worked in any retail store, like if you have a pair of your high-end Nikes that cost $200, you have a budget pair of Nikes $75. You're happy that the customer's buying the more expensive Nikes than the budget pair. So yeah, and they're happy everybody's buying the Air 2.
And they could be pricing this strategically like that to push people up to the Mavic Air 2 also.
Yep.
I was also thinking that
that's a waste of R&D, though, man. I
don't think they did much on it. I think they probably changed the board and that was it.
Okay.
I was also thinking when it comes to the
body design, they had to redesign that stupid ass prop that kept getting warped and having all those issues and all that crap, ESC warnings. They had to take care of that, and it was because of that stupid ass case. And that's what they're trying to get away from, because they know sooner or later somebody's going to crawl up their ass and go, you all designed that case wrong. So everybody's buying these props because you all designed it wrong. And that's why you put that sticker in the bottom, hoping that would remedy the situation. But the whole point is that's how you ship them out the damn door.
Yeah,
that's true. Well, one more question on this pricing, Bill. Does the Mavic Mini exist just to not let companies like Hubson and Fimi and so on not steal the bottom end of the market? Is that the only reason there is a Mini?
No, I don't think so.
Or
I think
DJI doesn't care about. They don't really care whether they control the low end of the market or not.
Spark needed to be updated, but they screwed up by not updating the Spark.
Yeah, I think they tried to do an update to the Spark and get something under 250 grams at it all in one. Is what I think they're trying to do. But I think it's great that they did the 250 grams for those countries that have those kind of regulations. But I also think they should have out of the gates brought it with 4K. I think this is also why you're seeing the 2 just a year later. That's why other stuff it's like 2 years, maybe 3 years. It's
typically like a 21-month release cycle from DJI.
And to have something come exactly a year later, they know that it wasn't up to par. In my opinion,
DJI has.
I agree.
Yeah, they haven't updated a drone year to year since forever.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
But didn't they used to do the tier thing? Didn't they used to go like it was like Phantom 3 standard, okay, and then roughly a year later it was Phantom 3, what is it, SC or whatever. And then about a year later, it was Phantom 3, or about, I don't know, maybe 6 months later, it was Phantom 3 Pro. Okay, and then probably about 6-8 months later, Phantom 4, and then 6-8 months later, Phantom 4 Pro. So
yeah, Bill makes a good point. I think there were 4 Phantom 3 models, and I think they were all released in the course of just a little over a year. They released 4 Phantom 3, and you flipped it around the wrong way, Bill. The first Phantom 3 was the Pro, the Pro, and the later ones were the ones that only had Wi-Fi.
Okay,
right. Yeah. But that was also, I think that was also had to do with them being a younger company at that time. And, you know, the Phantom line was, you know, basically they didn't have to change the body at all or the motors, you know.
Yeah.
So they were able to, I think when they're doing that, they're able to crank them out, you know. Mm-hmm. With the Mavic series of stuff, you've gotten a different body every time it's come out.
Yep.
Okay,
so body shell to do everything.
Okay, so here's the thing, he's saying the current Mini has a minimal markup. But okay, so but the whole point is that thing still comes into the country with the tariff on it. So even with minimal markup, the tariff is still there. So if you're showing us do the Canadians have tariffs on theirs? So if you're showing us 570 Canadian, well, is Roger still here? What does 570 Canadian convert to US?
I think they're gonna have to sell it for that price with the tariff. I think, you know, the bottom line, I think that's what they're going to have to basically discount it to come to the U.S. in order if they want it to sell. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, look, they have the option of also, if they want to, paying the tariff.
This is the price. This is the total price because it's right. This is $433, and he was saying 570 for the combo for the Flymore.
I think so.
Yeah,
so that was So what we're figuring, because 570 Canadian comes out to $433.40.
Yeah, because ask yourself, do the Canadians pay more or pay less for the Mavic Air 2 than we do? I don't think they do.
So, but that's the thing. Yeah, so it's just going to be, it's going to be like we were saying, probably 525, 549, and that's the absolute top. Yeah. That's the most they're going to squeeze out of somebody's 549 for the.
Yeah, I mean, to what you were saying earlier, Bill. Yeah, I you know, even though at first I said I'm going to get it, but if it's these high prices, I'll just keep the Mini. I don't have it here. The Mini 1, and I'll be fine because if I need 4K and all that stuff, I'll just fly a different drone.
Yeah, exactly.
Considering how much I fly, the only reason that I would upgrade it would be because, you know, my wife has been talking to me about us actually being serious about, you know, trying to do some photography work, and my wife takes some phenomenal, you know, photographs herself, but she's just she likes doing like hands-on kind of hobby stuff, like distressing and that kind of stuff. So she doesn't really, but I mean, has expressed that we would like to look for some kind of ulterior employment and something. So we were talking about doing the camera photography, videography type thing, you know, for, you know, my community as well as her community, because we have the meshing. So we were thinking about that, and we were looking into those things. So she might actually fly the Mini a little bit and stuff too, besides the other drones. Mm-hmm. And that might be the reason that I would upgrade. But if I wouldn't go any further than 549. And you know, for me, with tax on 549, that's going to push it up to right at $610.
Who needs any of these new drones when you've got some of the best vintage drones out there?
Oh yeah, we've been delaying so long. Yes.
What is that, John?
This is the Blade 350 QX. This first came out does anyone know when this came out? 2014. This thing came out in 2014. It was a GPS quadcopter. What?
It predates the Phantom 3 series?
Yeah, it probably does predate the Phantom 3 series because, yeah, it did come out in 2014. I don't know if it was fall of 2014 or what specific day, but, yeah, this thing is old. This is old school. And you guys are talking about the price of this stuff, and it's making me think, like, you know, we won't pay for a Mavic Mini if it's $529. This thing with a 2-axis gimbal at the time, That would run you like $800. Not even kidding. $800 with this. So, and this is not even a 2-axis gimbal. I've got this here. This is a 3-axis gimbal for it. Mm-hmm. This thing I paid $150 for this stupid gimbal here, and that was without a camera. You had to put the freaking camera, the GoPro. Typically, it was the Hero4. You have to put your freaking camera in this thing. So,
and you couldn't even see what it saw, right?
No, you couldn't see what it saw. No, absolutely not. You had to wire this thing up to like a 5.8 gigahertz transmitter or something like that. They have these little analog plugins that you could put in on the side. Oh man, it was so janky. It was so janky. And the ready to fly version of this thing actually came with a camera that you connected to Wi-Fi from your phone, and you couldn't fly anymore than like 50 feet before the Wi-Fi died. It was a joke. It was called the Unique Seago 2. Oh my god. And look at this. Look at this. We don't see this today on any.
Not camera drone, no.
No way. Non-proprietary connector, XT60.
No smart battery in that, John.
No way. And I'm sure Ron probably might know this. The original Phantom 1 was non-proprietary. They had the XT60. That was the one drone that DJI ever made.
That's correct.
Didn't have a non-standard battery.
Well, I have a couple too that I want to share, but I wanted to ask how many people remember this one, because you'd be walking around in the Walmart, and this is kind of what got me started. Other than that, and the little toy helicopter that it started out with. Do you all remember these little dudes? They're like $20, and I mean, and if you learned how to fly these little boogers, because they would fly, and you didn't really have a whole lot of control on them, then you could fly halfway decent.
That comes with a controller?
Yeah. Comes with the controller. I just was curious how many people still had those. And then, go ahead. Anybody else? Anybody?
Well, I'm not going as old as John here, but we've been talking about the bugs on for a while, a couple episodes. Here, I couldn't find the original bugs, but here's the Bug 3 Mini, which came out about a year after the Bug 3 was first released. And for the FPV guys, this even had, what do you call angle mode in it.
Yep, it sure did. I remember that. And it didn't really perform very well in angle mode.
Most reviews got it right. And in the first review, they start off just flying, line of sight, and then they switch to angle mode. And many people destroyed their Bugs Mini in their first flight when they put in angle mode.
Wow. Lauren was talking. He said it looks like the 350 QX3. It's the QX2, but this is a body that I painted. That's it. That's the difference. And I was actually looking it up. The first video by Horizon Hobby up on YouTube for this thing is September of 2013. So this thing is old. This is old school stuff. Oh my god!
Look, I still got some plastic on top of this Bugs.
The Bugs Mini. Oh my god, that's funny.
Wow, you still got. Oh, have you flown it any?
I got to fly that Bugs Mini actually at Ryan's house. RD's Reviews.
Oh, cool.
It's actually more fun to fly than the big one.
You know what's weird though? I tell you what, I experienced this really weird throttle dip while flying it, and I almost landed it in his pool.
Yeah, I do kind of remember. I haven't flown in a long time, but I do kind of remember that throttle dip.
Yeah, it's weird, right? It just, you're flying along and then suddenly it's like, whoa. Bill knows exactly what I'm talking about too, because he was the one who first told me, be careful when you fly it because it's weird.
Oh, super. Yeah. But once you got used to it, it's a fun little drone. I remember.
Bill, what happened to your focus? You're all fuzzy, dude. Something happened.
Wait a minute. I'm normally fuzzy. I don't know. I'm just not. Let me try this. Y'all keep talking. I'll come back in a second.
John, look. Remember the Bugs 3 had a what have you called it? Like a 2S battery. But look, a year later, the Bugs 3 Mini got a proprietary battery.
Exactly. Yeah, and that sucks because honestly, there was nothing proprietary about those batteries except the connector. It's not like they were smart batteries or anything.
You could take that apart. It's just like some little 2-cell lithium poly battery in here.
That's right. I took the Bugs 3 Pro, the GPS version's battery apart, and that's all that was. That's literally all that was. I got something else vintage here. You guys remember? You guys maybe remember this little camera here, the Mobius Mini?
Oh,
no, it's not a Mini. It's just the original Mobius actually. Okay. This camera was like the thing to have. Ooh, I think it recorded 1080p at 30.
Every drone reviewer needed that camera.
What?
Every drone reviewer needed that camera.
Yeah, and it was your hat cam.
Not only put in the drones, but also as a hat cam.
Yeah. Do you know which reviewer used this camera religiously for the longest time?
DJ Soulforce, I think, was a big fan of that in the old days.
DJ Soulforce and one other one. Quadcopter 101 was big.
Right.
Ron knows.
Speaking of,
that's who Daryl Soulforce got it from. He copied because he had the brim because he said the sound, the microphone captures sound if you put it under the brim of your hat and not on top.
It's cool. It's cool that we're talking about Daryl. Did anybody see that Daryl came on like about a week and a half ago and actually spun for like an hour?
I did see that on Facebook.
That was super cool, man. That was really cool.
I did see that.
And me, I've brought this up before. I'm not even sure when it was released, and I still miss this company because I always talk about how much this is another semi-vintage drone, and if you can find it, you need to get one because it's the best indoor drone that I've ever seen in my life, and that's the Cheerson CXOF, or optical flow. And I love this because it's a GPS drone. It's kind of neat. It's got kind of like an FPV drone. It's got a 5.8 gigahertz video feed, which means you can put it and see the feed in goggles and stuff. And it's the Cheerson CX23. And then you can see it's got inverted props in the back. And it flies about 10 to 15 minutes. Kind of a standard block battery. What have I got? How many? Looks like 2 cells, 1,200 milliamps.
Bill, you know what's crazy about Cheerson? I think we've talked about it before, is that, Cheerson was such a big brand of drone 3 or 4 years ago. They were still hanging. Probably 4 or 5 years ago, everybody had to have a little mini micro Cheerson. Everybody had to have those things. They were selling them all over the place.
Yep.
But then, something happened to. They also had their open source, the Big Shark. I don't know if anybody remembers that. The CX23, I think it was. It was a pretty big deal, and you put your own eBay gimbal on it. This was back when people actually built their own camera drones. And now Cheerson wiped from the map. Go try to find anything from Cheerson around. They're gone. It's like they're a dead company. It's like they're gone. If you find anything in stock, it's literally just leftover crap from years ago.
Wow.
They're just gone. It's crazy. It's kind of crazy.
So like you said, they, for a while, they were so big, especially in the budget price toy drones that, I guess that shows maybe they saw the industry going away and they got out before there was no market for their stuff anymore.
Yeah, maybe so, Ron. I was talking with my friend Ryan about some of the budget drones and the situation with the way some of these budget drones are right now. And it's like back then, it really made sense to buy some of this stuff. And today, with the Mavic Mini and all the options that you have, it ends up not being worth it. Past a certain price point, it ends up not being worth messing with any of this crap anymore. And just the thought of buying a CX23, which you probably paid, I don't know, 150 to maybe $200 for, and then you bought an action camera, maybe you bought a GoPro, maybe you bought the GoPro Hero4 used or something like that, and for maybe $250 to $300 you had a setup. That's crazy today. That's just absolutely crazy. Why would you do that?
Right. Right. Yeah, you're right. You didn't have choices in the old days. We'll go back to about 2016 and the fan.
The old days.
Just a fan for standard. If you went into Best Buy and you bought the drone with the extra battery, whatever, you were looking at $14.99, and that's a big jump from something that costs $150.
Exactly.
And there's the one that everybody got got broke on.
That's right.
Yeah.
The SEMA, the original SEMA.
How did SEMA survive and Cheers and Dip? What did SEMA do right?
Somebody bought them out. That's what I personally think, man.
No, you know what? SEMA just stayed toys, and they didn't ever go beyond that. And I think they kept selling the X5, and they lowered the price. I think we can get what, an X5 for like what, $40 these days.
You see even less the ones that aren't called SEMA.
Exactly.
The rebranded X5s go for even less.
Yeah, I have one that's literally called the Mold King. That's the name of it. They call it the Mold King. Why? I don't know. It was $15, but it's a great clone. It works great.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen. I got one for you.
Let me see these vintage drones.
Whip out your vintage.
Yeah, you know what's funny about this? This thing came out in 2016, I believe it was. So this is my first one. This is the first drone that I had. And you know what's funny? Back in 2016, this thing was $400.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. But it had GPS, it had return to home and whatnot. The camera is actually halfway decent, but it had digital stabilization only available in 1080p, and it was okay. It wasn't that good at all. But if you wanted to do 4K, it had no stabilization, so it was super shaky. But this is some of the footage that you could get out of it. So this is actually a Calibra and east of Puerto Rico. But it's really windy this day. You could see the palm trees whipping around. But for how windy that is, having digital stabilization, it was actually not bad. And actually, this footage, because it was so flat that came out of the camera, was actually color graded pretty decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. You can see that.
So
even through
this drone came out a whole year before the Spark did. It was kind of like the pre-Spark.
Yep.
Right.
And
the pre-Spark.
Yeah. No, when I bought it, the Spark was available, but the Spark was actually more than the Breeze was.
Wait a minute, we're going to rename it right now. It's not the Breeze, and it's not the pre-Spark. It's the Fizzle.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny to bring up Unique, because Unique used to be pretty big. They used to be a pretty big competitor against DJI. They were one of the ones in the ring. And actually, most people probably don't know this, but the 350QX was actually built by Unique for Horizon Hobby. You can actually plug a 350QX into Unique software, and it picks it right up. It'll pick it right up. So Unique built this stuff, but they just got their butt beat because DJI was just so aggressive that
Yeah. Well, it seemed like Unique, as you said, they were competing well. They had some that competed well against like the Phantom 3 line, but it seemed like when the Phantom 4 came out, they came out with that hexacopter model, and that was like they hedged all their bets into this hexacopter was going to beat the Phantom 4. And it did, because the hexacopter had issues at first, like dropping out of the sky and so on. And they kind of like after they lost that battle against the Phantom 4, it seemed like they never got their mojo back again.
That's right. The Phantom 4 came out, and it really kicked their ass for both the Blade Chroma, the Q500, and that Typhoon H. They never really recovered after that, Ron. You're right. That's kind of where their story ended when it came to competing with DJI.
Yep. I remember one of the big selling points about that hexacopter was that you could lose the motor and it'll still fly, but the chances of you losing a motor are so slim, you're more likely to lose a power failure. And, and at that rate, it's just simpler to have 4 motors.
Right. And keep in mind, at the time, whether you were flying the Unique Q500, the Typhoon H, the Blade Chroma, any of that crap, you were still flying Wi-Fi. There was and what did you have on the Phantom 4? You had the Light Bridge, right? It's just no comparison. Just again, no comparison.
Yeah, the Unique Breeze, you actually use the Wi-Fi off your phone. So if you had a phone that had a stronger broadcast Wi-Fi, you could go farther. But for the most part, your phone was limited to like 100 feet, or actually 300 feet football field, 100 yards. Which, as a first drone, I thought that was cool as anything, because it would do the return to home. It had orbit on it, had all that stuff, had active track. And, I thought it did. I flew that thing all over the place when I first got it. But
I remember everybody's big complaint was that you had to fly it with your phone. Everybody wanted the controller. That may have saved Unique if they would have came out with a controller for out at the gate.
I thought they were still alive. They were just building commercial drones. Period. Now,
yeah, I think they still are in business
because
they stepped way back from the consumer market.
The H3 is pretty much their construction bird now, right? Isn't it? Yeah. So.
And they also, the H520 as well. They have that. Yeah, they gave up on the consumer market long time ago.
Well, I really hope we'll see what happens with the election, but if things keep going the way they are now, and these budget cuts or tax breaks get offered to these companies to bring, manufacturing to the U.S., hopefully we'll see some U.S. companies just start to take off and really catch up to DJI. That would be really awesome.
Be cool. Yeah,
that would be awesome. But
we'll not have to go through the bull crap of wondering when it's going to show up. Just go to the store and it's there.
Right.
Yeah,
or direct from the company.
Yeah, and it's there within 24 to 48 hours. You don't have to go. Well, when's that boat going to get here?
Yeah, I'm really surprised Autel or even Skydio, for that matter, haven't put out a Mavic Air equivalent yet. Because
I think that's Autel's biggest miss is that they don't put out an Evo Mini.
Right. They could definitely.
That would be cool. I would actually buy one if they did.
Oh yeah, I think everybody would. That not have the geofence and all that stuff, and have a halfway decent drone. I mean,
it's tough to be in the game when you only have 2 drones and the cheapest one's $1,500.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and I think that platform could actually hold a better sensor.
Oh,
even at a smaller size. I think it would be more stable in the air. So I would definitely, and I could see somebody paying. Think if you could shrink down the Evo to Mavic Mini size and put Mavic Air 2 Tech in it and sell it for about $700.
Well, there you go.
Plus, and no geofencing, none of that restrictions and everything.
And that would be with no tariff, so that would be all gravy for the company.
Oh yeah.
Boy, I hope they're listening to this show, Bill.
Yeah, I hope they get something out before.
Bill doesn't like it.
That's a good suggestion. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, they need to get it out before whatever regulations go into effect. That's the thing.
Absolutely, because remote ID is going to kill the whole hobby.
It's definitely going to make it more challenging for them to be compliant. So.
No, you can be a rebel like Ethan.
Absolutely.
No, I'm going to say I plead the fifth. Did you fly your drone today? I plead the fifth. Did you plead?
If there were more U.S. companies making drones, they'd probably have more drone lobbyists in Washington to make sure these laws didn't all go through or whatever. The problem is that there's nobody stopping these laws going through because DJI and all the big companies, they're not U.S. companies. Nobody's listening to it.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to not fly my drone anymore, and I have this co-pilot, and I'm going to give it to him. He's got a 107. He's going to do all my flying for me, and it's going to be great. And that's how I'm going to get around it.
His name is Rue, though, right?
His name is Rue, yeah. The guy's name is Rue.
He's related to another 107 pilot.
Absolutely.
Named Stu. He's related to another pilot named Stu. But here, I got it for you guys. Here it is. I'm going to tell you right now. Here's what's going to kill remote ID and drone delivery. The first senator that makes that special Amazon order that actually gets delivered to his house and not the proper address. And his wife goes, well, this black thing isn't my size. Why is it here?
This black thing isn't my size. Why is it here? Well, that's an interesting use of words. Isn't it, Bill?
Yeah,
well, I'm just saying, what if it's
my use of words is going to be
is it 5 inches or 6 inches?
Because you're going to be dead laid out.
Now you dropped the F-bomb, Bill. You just got demonetized.
For what? Same 5 inches or 6 inches? Or that black thing is not my size.
That black thing.
Again?
Wait a minute. You could say I need at least 5 inches to make me happy, but I can't say See, she didn't hear it. She didn't hear it
more than
before.
5 inches.
Crazy.
Oh my god.
There goes
This is
this.
bad.
The first couple weeks.
This is getting cringe now.
I do got
We're definitely
I
monetized
do
now.
got more than 5 inches.
Yeah,
Get the hell out of here.
we got to pay them money now to be on the air.
Saying that. But you get what I'm saying. You know, he's ordered a nice dark negligee for a page there at the Senate, and instead of it being delivered by drone to her house, it's actually delivered to the senator's home address, where his wife receives the package and says, "Oh wait, what is this?" And it's not even my size. It just so happens to be the size of Stephanie.
Oh my god.
Well, it'll happen. It's gonna happen. It will happen. Has an Amazon package delivered by driver ever been delivered to the wrong address? Yes.
Yes.
How many? So, is it possible that a human will program a drone incorrectly and it would be delivered to the wrong address? Yes, and it will happen.
Bill, you know what's funny about that? My very first Amazon order ever got messed up. And this was, my God, I think this was like 1999. Amazon was still started up. I ordered some books and ended up with like a Tickle Me Elmo or some shit. I don't even know what happened. It's like, this is not my order. And at the time, that was like a big deal to order online. It was like, oh my God, how are we going to get this resolved? I remember thinking like, oh man, what are we going to do? What are we gonna do?
You said books. Remember, Amazon first started; they only had books.
That's right. Yeah. That's why we had ordered books. But at the time, though, they were getting into selling toys and crap like that. And I remember they sent some sort of Elmo doll thing, and we were like, "This is not what we ordered. What the hell do we do now?"
You got to Tickle Me Elmo.
It was a Tickle Me Elmo or something like that. I don't remember what the hell it was.
Okay. This is vintage, and I want to tell all you old farts out there that you're gonna. Well, y'all keep talking, and I'm just sorry, I'm rambling for a minute.
Ridge Flyers 32 says we got a long way to go before we have to worry about that kind of stuff.
What kind of stuff?
Remote ID and all this crap.
Well,
I'm curious if they're still going to be able to sell regular drones. Like say they announce at the end of December, this is what we're going to do, right? Will the other companies still be able to sell non-compliant drones because it's going to take them at least 2 years to really put it into effect? That's what I'm curious, because
I mean, I really want to know what the grace period is too. I mean, I'm with you. I want to know what is the grace period,
and also like they can announce they can announce in January, or the end of December, this is what they want to do. They're going to move forward with the regulations they propose, but how long is it going to take for them to announce what hardware they're going to approve and how the infrastructure is going to be set up? I mean, what they proposed is a lot.
It's complicated. It's really complicated.
And it's just disappointed in the way they're going. It could have been so much easier. I mean, the Lance system works great. I don't know why they just didn't approve upon that.
Look, what do you guys think? If this thing, let's say the NPRM exactly as is, goes in and they barely changed anything, I think the lawsuits are going to come out from all over the place to challenge this thing. I think they're going to have every lawyer try to destroy this thing as much as possible from the whole drone industry. I think you're going to see everyone from DJI to Autel to all of them try to dismantle this thing. I mean, that's what I think.
Well, I would hope so.
That the things never really get put in effect.
The only problem is, the distributors have, are way bigger. They got deeper pockets than any of the drone manufacturers. So even DJI, as big as they are, they can't compete with Amazon.
Yeah, and that's what's unfortunate. But maybe they'll try. I still think they're going to try.
I think they're going to have to see that it doesn't make money for them, or it's too much liability, or it puts too many people out of work. I mean, I don't know. They're going to have to, or they're going to have a huge public outcry and say we don't want it.
I mean, look, there were like 50,000 negative comments on the damn thing at least, right? So the right thing to do would be to just, be like, never mind, we're not going to do this. But we all know that's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, you write letters to your senator and your congressman, to tell them that you don't like these laws and that, if they don't make some changes, they can't count on your vote anymore.
Well, I thought that's what we did. I thought that's what we did when we all typed in a comment in nice, proper form and said, hell no, we don't want this. And they went, we don't give a damn.
Well, because nobody at the FAA was voted into the body, whatever. You have to get to somebody that can be voted out of a job, not somebody that just, is working there.
All right.
Another thing about the comment period, it was only comments on it were from like people like us, pilots and whatnot. It wasn't from the general public, about, hey, I want to sign over mouse.
That's right. And I wish we had more, and I wish people had more time, because Bill, I remember you and I were talking about how great it would be if there was money to create a campaign to call to action to homeowners to say, hey, homeowners, do you want package delivery drones flying all over your neighborhood? I don't think so.
Right.
Tell the FAA you don't want drones, delivering packages.
Or every time you look out your bedroom window, there goes an Amazon drone down the street with a bunch of boxes underneath it.
Exactly, and I wish that our industry had the kind of money to put those kinds of ads up on TV to really slam.
All right. I know we kind of got. I want to do one more retro thing. One more vintage thing to share with all the old farts that I told you I was going to do a minute ago when I went and got a drink and yada, yada, yada. Just kind of go back on the fun side of things for a minute. So I'm going to share this, and I want to see who all can go back in the Wayback Machine and see if you young bucks know who this is.
Okay.
Evel Knievel?
Oh my God! Everyone knows Evel Knievel.
Wait, watch!
Oh! Even the toy evil misses.
That's all.
You can make
Oh my God!
Backstands. Even mid-air somersaults.
Oh my God!
And for that big jump, here's Evo. Up and over that 4-foot ditch.
Oh, he's down. That's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt.
Bill, do you have a purchase link for this?
They would never air that commercial today. It's just funny.
No.
Oh, wait. Yes,
the music alone is provocative. So
wait a minute. They are making the stunt cycle again. You can purchase it from a company in California for $49 each.
Wow.
Made in America.
Wait a minute. What is going on? I'm still getting a feed from somewhere. Oh, it's over here.
I think
No, wait.
That's funny.
There we go.
Okay.
We're still making noise. There we go. I'm good now. Well, I'll find it for you and get you this. Y'all keep talking.
Maybe they could put a little GPS or something in that Evel Knievel. So
Well, I was thinking we could put like a little FPV camera on it.
there you go.
Can you imagine? We could or we could put an air unit on it.
There you
on
go.
the bike.
Yeah,
on the
There
bike.
you
And
go.
we can kind of and set it up so that it's setting up like what would be Evil's head,
Mhm.
and then to set the air unit on it.
Speaking of,
Go ahead.
So speaking of, go ahead, Ethan.
I was going to say, speaking of air units, John, how are you liking your DJI setup?
I love both of my DJI setups. Actually, the fleet is growing. I've got 2 now.
Oh,
Yeah.
two.
I've got 2. Yep. I finished my second build, and what can I say, man? What can I say?
I just had. I know. I just had somebody asking me on Facebook the other day about it, and they were like, "Is it really that good? I'm really thinking about it." I said, "Get it now." I said, "It's no comparison. It's awesome."
It's funny you guys mentioned that. In the Apple announcement the other day, did you see they showed the iPhone 12 Pro on top of an FPV drone, and also people speculated that it had the DJI Air unit in the drone that they were showing the phone on.
Yeah, I did see the footage from it, and I immediately thought, I was like, is that just like B-roll that they grabbing from some, or is that the actual phone on an FPV drone?
Wow.
I think it was the phone on the FPV drone.
All right. Well, with that being said, we're kind of getting to the top of the hour, and I know that Ethan's got to take off. But beforehand, I want to enter this into the chat that, yes, you can actually purchase. You can actually purchase the Evel Knievel stunt cycle for $39.95 from like I said, a company in California. And Ridge Flyer, wait a minute here. This right here, if you still have the original, I think it was 76, you still have the original stunt cycle and the original box. And it's even in so condition, it's worth about, I think, $1,800 to $3,200. If it's in mint condition, it's worth as much as $10,000. And there's like one or two of his collectibles, like stunt cycles and stuff that came out, that if you can find them, they're ridiculously collectible. And here's the link to evilknieveltoys.com, Evel Knievel stunt cycle, like I said, $39.95. And like I said, I know that Ethan needs to take off, so I'm going to let Ethan say his good evenings.
Well, it's always great to hang out with you guys tonight, and it's always great to hang out with the chat. It's great seeing everybody. Hope everybody has a great rest of the week and great weekend, and I will see you next week.
Good night, Ethan.
Good night, Ethan.
Have a good one. Did somebody else? And I think we're just going to go ahead. We're not sure. Anybody have an idea what we might do next week? Any idea? Any idea? Any idea? No.
Well, we could unbox the Mavic Mini 2 next week. Oh,
you're going to have it?
Well, I'm under DNA on that.
Oh, DNA. Well, you need to share a little of that DNA with all of us then. We need your hookup. Anyway, I'm sure we'll come up with something interesting. I think I may or may not. I may come back on here in a little bit and just fart around making some videos or something, or intros or something. I don't know. But who knows? We'll see. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to let John say his good evening.
Good evening, guys. Thanks. It's always fun. Always good to get together with you guys. The chat was great tonight. You guys are awesome. A lot of good talk about the Mini, FPV, vintage stuff. Like I said, always good to be here. And with that being said, good night, guys, and you guys all take care.
Enjoy those 5 inches.
I will.
Okay, so that's gonna be.
God.
And since it's gonna be me and Ron gonna wind things up, and I'm gonna switch it over and let Ron say his good evenings.
I got to follow the 5-inch joke. Thanks, guys. No, but seriously, I want to thank everybody for joining us in chat tonight. We had, a lot of the usual names in here, a lot of great comments, and just it's always a pleasure to see all the people in the chat. I want to thank John and Bill for and Ethan too for bringing on their vintage drones tonight. I haven't seen some of these drones for quite a long time, so it was nice to see some of them again. And we had a good discussion. The Mini, should you get it? Should you not get it? I don't think we really solved that issue yet, but who knows? Maybe we'll solve that for you in next week's episode. So with that note, I hope everybody has a great week, and I'm going to throw it back to Bill to take us on out of here.
Well, and I'm thanking you very much, Ron. I'm glad to have had everyone in here. And like I said, I'm telling you every week, we always have really good conversations. We always cover good stuff. So please spread the word that this is a great place to come and hang out on Wednesday nights, because we always talk about unique things. And I don't think there's anywhere that has the spontaneous comedic combustion that we have here on Drone Therapy. So with that being said, everybody enjoy your 5 inches. Live long and prosper.